What's up, everybody? I'm back. Walter Benasiak here. Thank you guys for checking out the Awesome Walter YouTube channel. The top 5 worst Power Rangers Turbo episodes have just gone up on the Channel Awesome YouTube channel, so I hope you guys go and check that out. And we're going to get into something very close to my heart here, which of course is Power Rangers. Turbo, a Power Rangers movie to be specific. Now this came out in 1997. It was the second theatrical release after the Power Rangers movie from 1995, and we're going to get into the ins and outs of this film, what I thought of it, and if it holds up to the original film, and what I think of it now, watching it as a 29-year-old man. Now let's get into this right now. So this did end Zeo. We did see Kat try and morph into Zeo Ranger 1, Pink, before she gets splashed into that water, and the morph doesn't work for some reason. And then we, of course, see the creation of the Turbo Powers in this movie, and the series spins off from here. So there's definitely a big gap between the end of Zeo and the beginning of Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. Fans have speculated for years about what happened within that gap, how the Machine Empire was destroyed in full and everything like that, and it resulted in a hoax actually called Scorpion Reign, which was the end of the series and sort of wrapped things up for Zeo. Now that's definitely a whole nother video within itself that I'll talk about later. A big thing that happens right off the bat is Rocky is injured training for this martial arts tournament, and he is taken out as a Power Ranger for the rest of the series. He's never seen again as a Ranger. I think he's in the first episode of Turbo, or the first few as they graduate from high school, but he's never the Blue Ranger again. This is the end of the line for him, and he's replaced by Justin, who is a little kid, and let's talk about that really quick. So Justin becomes the Blue Ranger in this movie. He's, I think, like 12 years old or something when this started, and when I was a kid, I was around his age. I thought it was fine. I didn't have a big problem with Justin, but definitely going back and looking at this now, when I'm older, he was very annoying. I could see why people didn't like him now. He definitely always added, so cool, or just some comment at the end of everything when the Rangers are talking, and it definitely could grate on your nerves after a while. So I understand why a lot of people don't like Justin, and that carried on into Turbo, which was definitely one of the more subpar series for the Zordon era. But he does have a little backstory about how his dad had to go away after his mom died, and he gave him up to this foster home, which is where he is at the beginning of the movie. So at least there's a little bit of an arc for him, that the Rangers are his new family and they're kind of taking care of him. But, I mean, it's not really worth it in the end with how really annoying he is. So the villain Divatox here is pretty sexualized for a kids movie. I guess this carries on this weird tradition, like Dulcia in the original Power Rangers movie, who's wearing next to nothing for most of that film. And it kind of carries on here. I mean, you know, Divatox is wearing a little bit more than Dulcia did, but still it's a little weird for a kids movie to see such a scantily clad villain, we'll say. But she does have her own character. She is this kind of spoiled, brat, rotten diva who is running this empire and is fighting the Rangers. And I love the scene where she calls Rita up, and that's a nice exchange that they have where she tells Divatox to run. She can't defeat the Power Rangers. So that was a cool little continuing scene that we saw from before. That's another thing. At the end of Zeo, we saw Rita and Zed sort of back in power as King Mondo and Queen Machina and everything were destroyed. So how they ended up just sleeping and seemingly defeated, I'm not sure if we'll ever officially find out, but that was a really cool exchange, and I think maybe the best part of the movie with Divatox in it. Maligore the puppet is weird, let's be honest here. The little wizard guy thing, he's very creepy, but I mean, it's not CG, so that's cool. It's a real time, it's a costume and everything, but his presence in the movie wasn't great, and I think that is definitely an identifying part of the movie, is seeing Largo at the beginning of it and everything, and his weird talking, that whole weird thing that happened in this movie, and I wasn't a big fan of it. His little scene with the monkeys is pretty funny, though. Another inconsistency with the end of Zeo is that Stone, Bulk, and Skull are now back with the police department. You know, last time we saw Bulk and Skull, they were getting called away on this mission, this detective mission to France, and they left Stone at his detective agency, but now they're all back together, and we don't know what happened in the police force, but that's just another thing, and they have a nice little scene at the beginning, and then Bulk and Skull are involved in the plot later on when they're captured by Divatox and have their brains scrambled, and they talk in funny accents. But hey, we needed Bulk and Skull in the movie, so I'm glad they were in there, even if they didn't really serve any point of the plot. So the power chamber here actually looks very different. I really missed the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger suits in the background, and they just replaced it with the different colors of the Rangers. I mean, it definitely takes something away, and especially with the legacy of, with Zeo, seeing those old costumes in the background, I always thought was a really cool aesthetic. So just replacing it with solid colors I thought was a little lazy, but I mean, they wanted to move forward. This is going to be the third iteration of the Power Rangers, so I understand for the most part, but that was definitely something I missed. Kimberly and Jason both make appearances in this movie, and they have pretty decent-sized parts. Now, I know Austin St. John definitely regrets not being in the original Power Ranger movie. I mean, he was the leader of the team for 2 full seasons, and when they went to that movie, him, Zach, and Trini already left the show, and they weren't invited there, and that's when we got Aisha, Rocky, and Adam to replace them as the black, red, and yellow Rangers. So it was cool to see him up on the big screen. I remember when he came back. I mean, he was already the Gold Ranger in Zeo, which was a great moment for him, and those episodes when he came back were awesome. But having him up on the big screen and having a role in this film, and it wasn't just a cameo. I mean, him and Kimberly both have important roles to play in this story. The turbo powers and costumes and vehicles and everything are okay, I guess. I mean, they're not the worst designed Ranger suits I've ever seen, especially with the more modern ones that I've seen that have been terrible. But the whole theme here is cars. It's all about cars and race cars and stuff. And we get their Zords as cars. And, you know, after going from dinosaurs to, you know, these mystical animals into, like, pyramids and all this other stuff and Sphinx and all that, we go to cars. And it's just kind of like, oh, we got cars. But the movie does make up for it a little bit when we see all the cars driving together down this desert and we start to hear the turbo theme for the first time, which is a great theme and I like a lot, so that was at least cool to see. Plus, Shift into Turbo is a nice successor to its Morphin' Time. I just like hearing that. It gets you pumped up, and it worked in the film and in the series. There's a couple songs in here that I actually really like. When they're going out on the ghost ship, we hear Hope for the World for the first time, and I think they play that in the series a few times too. This is a really good song. There's hope for the world. So it's cool to at least have that quality of music in the film. I really liked it a lot. When Jason and Kimberly get sacrificed to Maligore, I thought that was, just seeing it for the first time, I thought that was kind of ballsy, man. They actually went through with that. The Rangers couldn't save them in time. They got sacrificed and they got possessed by Maligore's spirit or something like that, and they come out and they actually fight the Rangers. And Kimberly, let's talk about evil Kimberly really quick. She is very sly and takes out the Rangers pretty easily. I think that Amy Jo Johnson is actually a really good actor. She's still doing a lot of stuff now. And that she got to play around with being a more evil version of that character. I thought that worked out really well in the movie. And she was really cool as a bad guy for a little while there. Jason is just all rage here. I loved this part of the movie where he takes on all the Rangers. My favorite part of the whole film is when he has Tommy up against the lava pit there, and he's about to throw him over, and he says, "Now I'm the one with the muscles and the power!" And that totally plays on some jealousy on Jason's end. Are those like his true dark feelings revealed? Is he really jealous of Tommy? I mean, it's cool to see them interact there, and Tommy, you know, has a nice retort to that, where saying you're not using your brain power, and then he flips him over into lava, but, you know, hangs on to him really quick, and then they bring him out, and they restore them to their former selves. But I always thought that moment was very, very interesting. Was that some kind of amplified feeling that Jason had towards Tommy? Because we never saw the jealousy thing before with Jason. He takes things very hard when he fails to protect his friends as leader, and also when he's not the leader, even in Zeo when he's just the Gold Ranger. Jealousy is never prominent, but I love that they kind of hint at that with Tommy. He took Jason's place when he became the White Ranger, and maybe Jason still has some kind of resentment deep, deep, deep down inside. And that was just a cool little back and forth we got to see. My favorite part of the movie. Maligore is supposed to be the ultimate bad guy here, but he's also reused as the ultimate bad guy, Dark Spectre and In Space. That costume is anyway. So he's basically just someone Divatox brings back. She's supposed to marry him, but he doesn't go for that or something. He grows giant. The Rangers form the first Turbo Megazord, and they destroy him, and that's basically the end of the movie. It kind of wraps up very quick, actually. It's definitely not as grand as the original Power Rangers movie. There is way more money, it seems like, put into that first one. I love the costumes in that first movie. This one is more along the lines with the show, and it definitely matches up continuity-wise with it, where the original Power Rangers movie did not. It kind of when it did its own thing a little bit from the show. But overall, it's okay. I mean, it's not anything grand. It's, you know, watching it as an adult doesn't really hold up all that well, but it still has some moments that are pretty cool, specifically the Jason and Tommy stuff when Jason was evil, and I like it okay. It's not like my favorite Power Rangers story or anything like that, but it's something that maybe once in a long, long while I'll throw on in the background or something like that. But I want to hear what you guys think about this movie. Do you think Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, holds up? It came out 21 years ago. I can't believe that. I'm so old. We're so old, guys. But go ahead and check out that movie if you wanted to kind of relive some stuff with me as I'm going through the worst and best episodes of Power Rangers Turbo over on Channel Awesome. So make sure you go check that out, because there's a lot of big things happening on that channel right now with Top 5. So I think you're going to want to tune in with that if you've been watching at any point in the show's history. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll see you back right here with a new video very, very soon. I'm going to be putting at least 2 videos up a week going forward, so I hope you guys enjoy that for at least for the next month or something like that. I've been saving up a lot of videos for you guys, so hope you enjoy that, and I'll talk to you next time. And don't forget to shift into turbo.